Oh man, it is freezing, but it is beautiful outside. I wanted to show you guys some really quick, simple recipes for the winter to really brave the winter, because the truth is, when we're cold, we want to hibernate, we want to stay inside, we want to eat something warm and soothing and savory and comforting, but we also don't necessarily want to spend all day cooking. So these dishes are all very simple things that are going to fill you up. They're going to give you a lot of something that's just comforting and delicious. We're gonna be doing stews and soups and fried chicken and things that just like feel very hearty and very comforting, you know, the ultimate sort of comfort food. And then so we're gonna use the 4 ingredients, and then I'm also gonna show you like what you can add to it if you wanna kind of spice it up a little bit extra, just for those of you that want a little something special. Alright, so this first dish is just a very comforting sort of stew, but I want it to be a taco stew because stews aren't always exciting. So what we have here, got the red cabbage, salsa, you can use any salsa you want. I've got some canned black beans, of course you could make your own, and then I've got some stew meat. You can also do a big chuck roast, but I want it to cook a little bit faster, so the fact that it's cut up is really helpful. I'm not including salt, pepper, and oil for these 4 ingredients, but these are the main focuses of the dish. But I'm also gonna show you guys the way I like to kind of finish stuff off. You can eat it just as is once you cook it, but I brought an avocado, and I also have these tortillas. So that's kind of like, you can make this like beef taco stew and actually make tacos out of it, which will be delicious. Okay, so I've got this pan pretty hot, kind of a medium-high situation. Gonna add some oil to that. Whatever oil, neutral oil you got is good. Just dump the meat in. I can start seasoning in the pot, because it's really not that much different. Yes, you could, you know, really make sure you pat this meat dry if you really want to get a good sear on it, and all that stuff's great and dandy, but I also want to show you really simple options so you don't feel bogged down. The whole reason that they say to really pat your meat dry, and of course I didn't technically do that, is because it helps really get the sear. Otherwise, with all the water, it can steam a little bit, but you can still get a good sear. Honestly, the whole point of getting this sear is to just sort of help caramelize the meat, add flavor depth to it. So it's kind of like you have all these different options. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure. One of the big differences between this show and a lot of other shows you're gonna watch is you're gonna see us make mistakes. You know, so I can speak for myself. I can't always speak for Mike. He might spend more time like thinking his things through, and I think he does. But for me, it's like I enjoy these little things. Yes, I know that patting your meat dry is gonna give you a better sear, but I also just felt like dumping it in today and kind of see where that takes me, because the truth is, life is always a journey and exploration, and the minute you think that you know something, the minute you think that like, I've got it all figured out, that's when you stop learning. That's why most teachers, they're not good teachers. Well, the ones that are not good is because they stop learning. I've got some mixture now of this sort of steam, kind of mixed in with caramelization, the meat's pulling away. I'm gonna add in my cabbage and just kind of cook that down for a little bit, kind of get that together. And the sort of thing I really like about this stew is normally with stews you would add some sort of, you use water, but usually they would use some kind of stock, like you'd add in beef stock. Of course you could make it yourself, and all that stuff's great, but I thought like if we're gonna be doing this sort of taco experience, why not do black beans, which have a lot of flavor in them, and salsa, because salsa has everything you could ever want in it. So I've got this salsa here, and it's got tomatoes, tomato puree, bell peppers, vinegar, onions, jalapenos, garlic, cilantro, like just all kinds of good stuff. And so that's really cool because it's gonna flavor this so well, and you're not gonna have to add all kinds of things. And that's part of this experience. It's like, I just wanna be able to dump stuff in, which like I said, if you just dump all this in at once and then cook it on low, it's still gonna be delicious, but I'm going, you know, kind of that extra half mile, maybe not the whole extra mile, but I'm going the half mile. My cabbage is starting to kind of break down a little bit. I could cook it more if I want, but I'm just gonna dump in my salsa. And I have 2 salsas, so I'm gonna, this one's like a roasted garlic. Son of a bitch, you gotta open. That smells amazing. So, I'm gonna do about half of that one. Mix that around. I've never seen, oh my God, that smell is insane. So much in there. I've never seen anyone really do it quite like this, so I'm excited. And then lastly, beans go in. And one of the things I like about beans is they're a cheap way to get protein, but also really cut things, right? So like I could dump, if I don't want to use beef, I could just do like bean salsa taco experience. But this way, like if I don't have as much meat, or if I'm buying a nicer meat, it's a little more expensive, whatever, I can use beans, and that's just gonna give me more volume. So yes, there's no flavor in water, so you might be thinking I'm just diluting the flavor. And you could add stock at this point if you wanted to, but the thing is the water's really gonna cook out and leave all the flavor in there. The water's gonna evaporate as this cooks down, and that's what's gonna get the meat super deliciously tender. Okay, some salt, pepper. All right, we got a little stew here. I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a taste just to kind of get a sense of where the seasoning's at right now. You can always season later. And remember, with the salt, if it doesn't taste too salty, that's okay, because as it cooks down, the salt will concentrate. So be careful. Oh my God. That already tastes insanely amazing, insanely. What I'm gonna do is bring this to a boil. Ow, it's hot. Bring this to a boil, and then basically just let it simmer until you'll know it's done when the meat is starting to really fall apart. Because that's the thing, this is tough meat, so if we cook it for a long time, it's gonna get really tender and be delicious. So here's the thing. You could have these tortillas and you could not cook them and you could just sort of like eat them straight out of the package. They're already cooked technically, so that's not a problem, but they just don't taste good. They don't have life. When you do this and you flame grill them, they come back to life and you feel like they're just freshly made. It changes so much. It makes such a big difference. So if you don't have the ability to do this, you know, you could put it in a pan, you could put it on low, no oil, or you could fry them up and make like tostadas, but either way, I kind of just keep turning it, keep it nice and low, and then you end up with these just beautiful looking, like straight out of the freaking tortilla press grill tortillas. Ooh, that's hot. So here's how I like to finish them. Take your little tortillas down. What's amazing to me about this stew is it kind of smells like a taco chili or like a Mexican chili, and you could add, you know, cumin if you want, but you know, just having that beef in there, oh my God. I just cooked it for probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours, just until the beef was like super tender and kind of just nicely peeled apart. I wanted to keep some structure, so I'm not cooking it for hours and hours, but this way like you can get some chew to it, but it's still gonna just kind of melt in your lovely mouth. Make sure you get some of that cabbage on top. Sprinkle some, I'm gonna use some cheese, you don't have to. You can use cheddar, mozzarella, whatever. This is just like a little fresh, more of like a Mexican style cheese. Avocado, you could do sour cream. Again, you can just eat this straight up, but I figure why not, as they say, zhuzh it up for you guys a little bit. Cilantro, oh man. Squeeze a little lime on there. Time to tuck in, as they say. Now what's amazing about this is you can make this for a party for a bunch of friends, or make it for yourself and just keep it in the fridge. It will last at least 5 days, not a week in the fridge. You can freeze them, you can make a huge batch and just have these. I mean honestly, imagine being able to whip those out. Once you make the mixture, you can whip them out in minutes. Please like, subscribe, and share, because remember, that stuff actually helps this video get out to the world. Sometimes people don't see stuff because like I don't ask for likes and whatever. Sweet potato shroom curry. This is a green curry. A little sweet potato, mushrooms, coconut milk, and some green curry paste, or whatever kind of curry paste you got is cool. So I'm just slicing up some mushrooms nice and rough, slicing sweet potatoes. The smaller you cut them, guess what? The smaller... Oh, Jesus. Whoops. The smaller you cut them, the faster they cook. So I just kind of let that coconut milk melt down. The one I had some weird like kind of preservative stuff in it, so it made it sort of jellify a little bit. But if you get fresh coconut, that's even better. Whatever you get's cool. Just kind of mix in the curry paste, cook that just for a few minutes. Then I toss in my vegetables. Just sort of mix them around. I mean, this is like one of those just dump and stir. Oh, look at that. I just love the slow motion. You gotta love that slow motion movement in your brain. Alright, so just add some salt. It's the only other thing that's really going in here. Mix it around, and I mean, at this point it's like technically done, but I'm just gonna let it stew probably 30 minutes, an hour if you really want to. Just watch, because as the liquid cooks out, you know, it concentrates the flavor, and you don't want to cook all the liquid out. And you can see now it's like super cooked down. The mushrooms let out a lot of liquid. Sweet potatoes are soft and tender. And I'm serving it just over some rice noodles. Really simple. Squeeze a lime on it, some cilantro. That's all you need. You can add some chili, but it's already really spicy. And you have such a soothingly delicious and filling, hearty meal. Come on, look at that. You can do that, right? You can do that. Do it. Show me. Take a picture and show me. Snapchat us. Instagram us. This is just one of my favorite things. The rice, I mean, even regular rice is great, but rice noodles, chewy, spicy, fragranty. Yes, please. So a lot of the dishes today are kind of like curries, stews, soups, that kind of stuff. This is a little different. I didn't want to just have those. I wanted to make something comforting, but also a little naughty. So we're doing Korean kimchi fried chicken, and we'll see what happens. I have some chicken breast, some kimchi, which if you are wondering, and you're probably not, when I opened it, it did explode. So be careful when you're opening kimchi. It's fermented, it's alive, so mine exploded everywhere. Got some ketchup and some potato starch. You can also use cornstarch or even flour if that's all you have. But I'm basically going to use these two to make a little sauce. I'm going to use the juice in here with the ketchup to make a sauce, and then fry up the chicken in here and have this awesome thing that I'll serve with some rice on the side. I'm excited to show up. So for those of you that did not know this, Mike and I competed on the show Chopped. It's a Food Network show. It's a competition show. It's one of the most popular shows probably ever to be made, and somehow we were lucky enough to get on the show. And one of the ingredients was kimchi. So you can actually watch that show, season 18. There's like a million seasons of that show. Season 18, called Clutch Call. I think it's like episode 12 or something, but we both got chopped. I don't want to spoil it, but they screwed us. Which I'm glad Marcus Samuelson, who was one of our judges, we are now up against a Shorty award. So if you guys haven't, you can vote for us. I'll put a link below to win a Shorty award, which is like the best in social media. Marcus Samuelson chopped me first. So if we can beat him, that would be amazing, because I didn't deserve to be chopped. I should have won. But it's all good. So I'm just taking the kimchi juices, which is basically there's like shrimp paste in here. There's chilies. It's sort of like a, you know, almost like vinegary because it's like fermented experience. I'm just mixing those together to make this sort of spicy, sweet glaze. And that will be my salt. Oh my God, that's good. All right, so this part's very simple. Little salt goes in here. I'm also gonna, you don't have to really see it, but I'm gonna salt the chicken. Salt the chicken. You can pepper too, but this gets more Korean inspired. I don't feel like I need to pepper it up. I feel like everyone's always just using salt and pepper, and salt and pepper aren't always meant to go together. There's this like Americanized thing. I feel like it's like Food Network bullshit where it's like salt and little pepper, like everything's salt and pepper. Like if you don't know why you're adding pepper, don't. Pepper is an amazing ingredient on its own, and when you use it to shine, it's special. But when you just like crack it just to crack it on stuff and you don't know what you're doing, it's like, give it a break, people. Give it a break. You know, my oil popping back there. So now I'm just gonna add potato starch and sort of mix it up with that salt. I'll add some more salt on top. Cool, and that's just that. This is literally it. You could make a batter if you want to do like more of a wet batter, but I'm just gonna toss my chicken right in there. Just do a couple pieces at a time to start, just so they get coated before you add in all their buddies. All right, got my oil to about 350. We'll do like a little bit of a tester piece. And it does help to sort of shake off the excess flour, because whatever's not holding onto that chicken will essentially just fall into your oil and make it all weird and stuff. So it doesn't hurt to kind of get off as much as you can. Give it a little shaky dance. Oh yeah, it's rumbling. You can see that coating's really sticking on there nice. It's not like a super thick, intense coating, but just enough to give you some crisp. I got it about 340, 350, trying to keep the heat up, but it's dropping on me a little bit, which is all good. So at this point, my chicken's, you know, cooked through. You can see I'm just trying to get a little bit extra color on it, just for looks. You know, you don't want to dry it out, but it's just nice to make it look a little bit darker. And then we'll toss the sauce in. It'll be extra, extra sexy. All right, just gonna give it a little sprinkling of salt. Toss that around, and that is some sexy fried chicken right there. Put this chicken in. I just tried a little piece. It's so crispy. Oh my God, that potato starch. I'm not frying it enough. And just sort of mix the sauce all over it. rest off. You can just eat it straight up and that's delicious, but you know, rice never hurt no one. So I'm gonna add some rice to the bowl. Some kimchi, which you remember from earlier, goes on the side. Oh, get that crispy chicken. Like, look at this meal. They're all good, but like this is more next level experience. And don't think I would forget it. Boom. So just imagine it's winter time and you're chomping down on something delicious like this. All right, I'll come down to you. My new place to eat, apparently, on my knees. Oh, you want extra juicy? That chicken started to dry out a little bit. I was honestly making it go a little bit longer just because I wanted to show you guys the look stuff on camera. I could lie. I'd be like, oh, it's the most juicy chicken ever, but it's not. Delicious. All right, a little carrot miso sexy soup. Very simple. You got some tofu, some miso-based carrots, and scallions. That's it. This is the easiest one. You add a little water to the bowl and some miso paste as well. You mash it up. You mash it up. You mix it up. You mix it up in the bowl. Then you slip in a little tofu. And those scallywags, just the tip, just the end and the root, yeah. And then the carrots are slide into the bowl. Mix it up all in the bowl. You mix it up, you mix it up. A little slow-mo mixing. You add a little tofu and the carrots all in the bowl. And then you mix and just simmer for about 20 minutes and it's done. Seriously, folks, that's all you gotta do. Just cook it for about 20 minutes. You can add, you know, any flavorings. If you want to add ginger in there too. I'm just topping it with some fresh scallions, but this is such a soothing and simple, delicious miso soup. And sometimes, you know, they'll add seaweed and things like that, but the sky is the limit. Miso soup is so soothing, so easy. It's the quickest thing ever, and it is delicious. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are all glorious. Please make these recipes and send us pictures on social media.